Today's talk is called It's Never Too Late. And a couple of background pieces about this message is that the theme for the whole month of February is celebrating diversity. And the theme for the month of February is also love. And we are in the midst of the season for nonviolence. And I was going to say this for our announcements, and I'm not going to bother because I don't want to wait that long. Centers for Spiritual Living made a very bold statement quite a few months ago in withdrawing our plans to have our February conference, which is happening right now, in Knoxville, Tennessee, because they had a bathroom law. They had a law that did not protect the LGBTQ community. And so we actually ate the $33,000 as an organization and said we prefer to stand with what we believe and the rights of all people on this planet to be who they are. So and so that conference, instead of happening somewhere in a hotel where we can all, plan to go and be with each other in warm bodies, has been virtual. And the grand finale will be live streamed from Mile High Church in Lakewood, Colorado, tomorrow night at 8 p.m. You can go to csl.org and watch all of the ceremonies. There are rewards being given to all kinds of people and communities, and young people doing amazing things, people doing global ministries. A woman named Reverend Connie Phelps, whose pulpit I took over in Canada for a little while, who's she's doing a ministry in Africa somewhere. All kinds of stuff. So there's an opportunity to go to csl.org and get in on the festivities. And the reason we're not having a live conference is because we stood for what we believed in, and I wanted you to know what you're part of. There was a message that was released by Reverend Dr. Ken Gordon yesterday that followed the rescinding of the order nationwide by the current administration, removing the protection that had just been established for people who have a different gender identification in our country, and suggesting that it should be something that's determined by states. So I just want you to know you belong to a very powerful organization that is on the leading edge of awakening to the magnificence in every one of us and really truly co-creating that world that works for everyone without exception. And I'm very proud to be part of that. All right? Good. So it's never too late. It's never too late. It's never too late to have a happy childhood. It's never too late to live your dreams. It's never too late to get busy with that bucket list, right? It's never too late to do the things that you secretly hoped of doing and imagined that you might do later on. It's never too late. As a matter of fact, if we just do a do-over on our childhood alone, if we just do the happy childhood thing, there's a good chance that all of the rest will take care of itself. Many of us know that in a very personal way because we've already begun that work. We recognize through whatever therapy or programs or science of mind classes or investigation that we have done, that all we need to do is replace the ideas that were false with those which are real and let life happen, right? That's all we need to do. We learn in science of mind classes, among other places, that effects, anything that we can sense with our five senses, are just that. They are effects. They are outcomes. They are results of cause. They have no power in and of themselves. They have no law to stand on. They are the result of using the law of cause and effect with false ideas. And so if we go for a do-over on our childhood and we say it's never too late to have a happy childhood, then what we can do is we can go ahead and pluck out those false ideas, plant the ones that are true, or by the way, all we have to do is pluck out the false. The true is indomitable. It's always there. It's always been there. It always will be. It's abiding. It's changeless. It's there. Okay? and let the law produce the life that we were designed to have, that we were meant to have. It is never too late. It is never too late. So the other reason that it's never too late is because time, which is where this whole reference comes from, is relative. How many of you have taken a class about Thomas Troward? Anybody? Tried to read him? Okay. Well, we've been working really hard on Tuesday nights talking about the absolute and the relative, okay? And the relative is the world that you and I live in, right? It's all relative. It's all determined by the relationships between us and circumstances and things and all of those effects and all of that stuff that's already shown up. The real power is to hang out in the absolute. Now, the cautionary tale that both Troward and Ernest Holmes also have to say is that if we just hang out in the absolute and our feet aren't even touching the ground, we can't do much good. Okay? We can't realize heaven on earth, or those dreams, or our bucket list, or anything else. On the other hand, if we operate totally on the physical plane, in the manifest universe, based on only what we have already created, what we can already see, which is just history, by the way. It is the physical outpicturing of what we have thought and felt and believed before. If we only look to that for our information, we will also be lost. So the deal is a partnership between heaven and earth by means of each of us. It's never too late, because that partnership already exists. That partnership is undoable. It is the truth of my being and your being and everybody's being. So the deal is that we can recognize not only can we have a do-over in our childhood and remove false ideas and let the reality, just the divine reality of the absolute truth of all life and our beingness shine through, court it, get to know it, become it. We can also recognize that time is something that we've created to measure our placement in all of this. But it's not all that we are. Our oneness is in spirit, in the absolute. Our power is in spirit, in the absolute. The place where everything originates is in spirit, in the absolute. So the place where change comes from is in spirit. It's in the absolute. So we are one in the power to change what is showing up right now. We are one in that. I'm really excited. You know, this is life right now. I think of words like galvanizing. You know, life right now has demanded that we wake up. I can't help it. Everything that I talk about every week is, I talked a couple weeks ago about a quote that said, Rosa Parks did not change the history of the United States by sitting on the couch, right? And neither will we. It is amazing what's going on right now. For so long we have practiced idolatry. We have practiced this idea that we just need to pick the right president or the right minister or the right teacher or the right coach or the right mate or the right whatever, and then everything will be cool. It's us. Drop that search, look in the mirror. And this whole thing is changing because it's not about anybody, including me, standing up here and telling anybody anything, you know. It's about us. It's about we. And so this organization also is moving out of the old paradigm. Another big layer, another big leap, but we're going into we. And there's a lot of mystery around that. And even my husband gifted us with sinus flu and an inability to come here except for long enough to plug a couple things in and say, I'm living now. Right? Because something needed to happen. Something needed to happen, and it couldn't happen without a socially acceptable reason for letting go. I tried last week, by the way. I probably won't say any more about that because I'm being filmed. We've been gifted with this opportunity. Oh no, we get to discover something new. And it's pretty great. That's really what's happening everywhere. So it's not too late. I mentioned to a couple people that I watched this documentary on Netflix last week called INN, like bed and breakfast. Oh, yes, and then SAEI. It is an Icelandic term for intuition, which has many different meanings in the Icelandic culture. And it's a beautiful film, talking about the power of intuition. And one of the things that stuck out for me the most was about children meditating. So, oh, that's not what it's supposed to be like. Ah, okay. What happens if you talk too long, the little symbols show up? Okay, that's not it. Okay, so check this out. I'm going to look at a couple of these. In the middle, it says, if every 8-year-old in the world is taught meditation, we will eliminate violence from the world within 1 generation. That's the Dalai Lama. Yeah. Okay, and this kid up in the upper left-hand corner, this is the Africa Yoga Project. The best and most beautiful things in the world cannot be seen or even touched. They must be felt with the heart, Helen Keller. And these kids that are meditating in school, some of them, not all of them, are part of this project called Mind Up, which was created by the Hawn Foundation, Hawn, aka Goldie Hawn created it. It's based in Miami and London, and the curriculum is free. And so what happened in the film, we got to see this. We got to see these children taking, so you can look up Mind Up, by the way. Look, Mind Up, Hawn Foundation. You can just Google Mind Up curriculum and grab it and start using it, okay? These kids learned that if they could take a couple brain breaks, one at the beginning of their school day, and one again after their break, because they might have gotten in a little tiff during recess, that they would be a choice as to what they thought and what they felt and how they behaved and how they interacted. And of course what happened is that their social skills increased, their academic skills increased, their levels of social, emotional intelligence, everything got better. There's one young man, I don't remember his name, he was interviewed, and he's on the website too. He used to play with other kids the same way that he would play video games that were very violent. And the other kids were like, I don't want to play like that. I don't get what you're trying to do, and so I don't want to play with you. And he learned through mindfulness practices to play like a regular kid. And he has lots of friends. And then these children go home and they teach their parents and their siblings about mindfulness. Yeah, it's just amazing. And there's no limit to what they believe they can do. There really is no limit to what they can do. Okay? So this is the happy childhood part. Here we are, we're grown-ups, realizing, my gosh, we got to get it together, because number one, we need to be there for our younger people. Well, actually, number one is they're being wiser than us. But number two is, hey, you know, we ought to at least do our best to set a good example, right? Because sometimes we act like those children who don't have a grip on our thoughts and our feelings and our emotions. We not only manifest or demonstrate something we'd rather not experience, we act out in ways that make everybody go away. I say this often, but I think I did last week. There's a common joke in the adult child of alcoholics recovery realm, which is that the adult child of alcoholics says, leave me alone, where is everybody? In one breath. We literally push people away because we developed all these mechanisms for trying to stay safe, and in the same breath, we're just dying of loneliness, wondering where everybody went. So what I have found is that, number one, this spiritual practice of mindfulness and meditation, of course, has been key for me to learn how to choose what I think, because ultimately that means I choose what I create as my experience. It also means that I'm choosing how I behave, because I don't want to be governed by the patterns of growing up in, the first 4 to 6 years of my life when I perceived that certain things were not safe. like having a new idea. Like taking initiative. Like doing something that no one had done before. Like imagining something that didn't seem possible to the other members of my family. I don't want to carry that around anymore, right? So we have the opportunity to follow their example. Go get the curriculum and try it on yourself. It's available for grades K through 2, but also 6 through 8. And what the heck, we can learn something from that. We can turn around and think that we're teaching it to children and get something out of that. So here's the other part of It's Never Too Late. We gotta go backwards because we're not ready to sing that song yet. Okay. Check out these people. If you Google this, there's a list of the 25 oldest people doing amazing things. And I'll just tell you what some of them are, roughly. Okay, starting top left, we'll just try that. This man in the middle, oldest person to sail around the world, Minoru Saito. He was 77 years old when he completed a circumnavigation of the world, which was astounding. He also did it 8 more times, and the last time he went the wrong way against the prevailing winds and currents, and it took him 1,080 days to complete it that time. Okay? This guy up in the top right corner, he got, he's the oldest person to receive a doctorate. Okay. I really want to tell you who he is. There's great people. Okay. A doctor of science, Dr. Heinz Wenderoth in Germany. He was awarded a doctor of science at the age of 97. Okay? 97. 97. Okay. Okay, we're gonna, I love these guys, we're gonna skip their names because it'll take me too long to look them all up. But next row, this gentleman was part of the Tuskegee Airmen. And he was a navigator at that time, but he was the oldest person to get a pilot's license. You see him there being awarded that. This woman in the middle with the Hawaiian leis around her neck, Gladys, she's the oldest person to complete a marathon, and she too was 97, I think, and, okay, don't have that on my first page. And her local newspaper nicknamed her the Gladiator, because her first name's Gladys, okay? Then this woman was the oldest person to visit the North Pole, and this guy, we don't have him. There's an oldest person to visit the South Pole, and more. Okay, this man, oldest bungee jumper, 97 years old.
Oh, suicidal.
Yes. Okay. And then, and let's see, this gal in the middle, 55, she was the oldest woman to summit the highest peaks on all 7 continents. And then this gentleman, 81 years old at this time, is the oldest flight instructor on the planet. And there were more, because there were 25 of them. So those are just a few examples. So this idea that it is too late, it's pretty much all washed out, right? And some of you have also heard me talk about people that I've witnessed in my life who've had severe handicaps, who also say, it's never too late. By the way, there's a picture missing there, and I want to tell you, I guess there isn't, okay. 84 years old. 84 years old. Somewhere in Africa, he decided to get into the 1st grade. So there's this beautiful picture of all these little kids and this big old man sitting in the middle in 1st grade. It is never too late. But I mentioned the handicap. Some of you have heard me talk about this young lady who lost her legs from the knees down to landmines when she was 4. And she was adopted into a family that attends CSL Asheville, North Carolina. And she became my friend. And we did a fire walk together. And I used to see her kickboxing at the gym when I was on the treadmill across the room. And I saw her in the locker room too. She was the happiest person ever. So there are all kinds of reasons why it's not only too late, but whatever any other belief that we might have about a handicap, it's just bunk. And we have been beautifully triggered and galvanized to wake up and give our gifts. We have this analogy that was given to us by Dr. Christiane Northrup, that when we are born, we move through the birth canal, and our potentialities are triggered by that trip through the birth canal, and our DNA is activated. And I believe that we're doing that on a universal scale. I believe that we're going through this period of change where it's scary, it's dark, there's the unknown, there's that necessary period of not knowing and having to trust, of being triggered, and all kinds of potentialities are being activated that we didn't even know we had, plus the ones that we kept on the shelf for someday. So not only is it not too late, it's time. It's time. So I always end my talks with some kind of an invitation. And this one is not just about what can you do to change the world today. This one is what in you has been holding back, because somewhere along the line you got the message that it wasn't okay, that it was not sensible, that it wasn't safe, that it was ridiculous, we don't have time for that, or whatever it was. What magnificence in you is up and alive and ready to play. Because this is a place where you are supported in discovering that. You are safe to explore it. You are supported in experimenting and mucking up totally, and messing up and being invited to come back in and try again. We're in this together. What is alive in you that is ready to be birthed? Why? Because we're here. You're still here. I'm still here. We're here. It is now, and it is time. Namaste. Okay, afterward, and then we're going to sing a song. Here's something from Ernest Holmes. This is from This Thing Called You, written in 1948. The spirit is happy, whole, free, filled with joy, eternal in its existence, and can provide you with everlasting expansion. All your highest hopes and dreams have come from it. The echo of its being is in your intellect. The voice of its unspoken word is in your mind. The feeling of its light and life is in your heart. The emotion of its imagination is in your soul. So what do you want?